You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. So Ed Orgeron and Mike Leach on Wednesday both run the SEC Coaches Teleconference to preview this weekend's game, of course. And not surprisingly, last year's game was a pretty heavy theme of what was discussed, as it should be. As a matter of fact, Ed Orgeron said when he hired Durante Jones, this was one of the first things they looked at.
You know, when Durante came in, he and I watched. That's the first game we watched together. I said, these are the things as a defensive coordinator you have to cover. These are the things you need to be prepared for that you may have seen in the NFL, you may not. So have we been practicing those things? Are we aware of those routes? Yes, we are. Have we played all of them perfect? No, we haven't. We still have work to go.
I'll come back to that here in a second, but Mike Leach was asked to compare this LSU team that he's seen through 3 weeks to the team he beat a year ago.
I think they look quite similar. I think, they're big and fast and explosive and, have all the everybody heard of in the recruiting process, that were well known because their quality of play. And so, I think they look pretty good in all phases.
So Leach is essentially saying physically they look like they did. Orgeron is saying when Durante Jones came in, this is the first thing we looked at. So, this is what went so wrong for us last year, and you need to fix this. So, game one against UCLA certainly didn't look like they fixed it. I mean, that's a fair assessment. I'm not going to sit here and X and O you. I think we all understand that. There are people who are just much higher level than that. That's why a guy like Sean Salisbury was on here yesterday, and if you missed that interview, would highly recommend that you go back and either listen to it or watch it on our YouTube channel, because Sean has known Mike Leach for many years and has had a lot of high-level, high football IQ conversations with him and basically explained what Mike Leach is trying to accomplish and how you combat it. And that's if you're interested in that much depth, go listen to that. But the bottom line is, if you watch UCLA against LSU, we saw coverage bust. We saw a lot of the same issues that happened last year against Mississippi State. Ed Orgeron also talked about traveling to Mississippi State and playing this game in Starkville at 11 a.m. Saturday.
About fixing LSU this week, we took a big step last week, but now the competition is a lot tougher. Mississippi State plays very well at home. We could not stop them last year. Coach Leach did a great job against our defense. We're up for a big challenge. We're going to continue to work through game time. It's an 11 o'clock game early in the morning. We have to get up ready to play.
The LSU will continue mentioning last year. Players don't forget. They remember those things that happened. And LSU was embarrassed a year ago. Now, the really good news for LSU, it looks like Jay Ward's going to be back. And Ali Gay, I was told this, is practicing fully. So you're going to have Ali Gay. You're going to have Jay Ward. You had the luxury of taking the last 2 weeks against non-conference opponents and letting some guys get healthy. Now, Cam Wire's still not going to be a go. Very likely. He's not been ruled out, but I think it's safe to say that he is very doubtful for the game. So what LSU does at left tackle, we'll see. But I still think LSU offensively, even though we've had a lot of angst about this offense and their sort of lack of fluidity, I think they're going to be fine in this ballgame and they're going to be able to make plays. Last year, LSU put up 34 points and 425 yards on Mississippi State. It was still Zach Arnett. I realized that was his first game as defensive coordinator in a COVID year. And yes, Arnett's a very good defensive coordinator at disguising pressure and bringing pressure. And that's been a problem for LSU. But I also think LSU's athletes are better than Mississippi State's, and you're going to find a way to get your athletes the ball and make plays. The question is LSU going to be able to stop Mississippi State like they couldn't do a week ago? I mean, I'll remind you, when you look at Mississippi State defensively, Louisiana Tech scored 31 unanswered against Mississippi State's defense. Well, in fact, one of the scores was a pick six, but 31 unanswered. NC State actually had more yards against Mississippi State than Tech did. They just had 3 turnovers. So you credit Mississippi State for the 3 takeaways, but NC State scored only 10 points, but they moved the ball. And then this past week against Memphis scored 31 points, and we made a big deal about the blown call on the punt return, which was a blown call, and obviously it should not have been a touchdown. But do you realize at that point, Memphis was winning? That punt return added to Memphis's lead at that point. So they were able to move the ball also. I think LSU is going to move the ball against Mississippi State. The bigger question is going to be how can LSU defensively improve? Leach also talked about the progress that his defense has made year 2 under Zach Arnett.
I think everybody just becomes more familiar with their role and what they're doing. They're more familiar with what they're asked to do, and they can kind of build on it a little bit. So I think there's a definite value to that.
So for me, that is, LSU is going to find success offensively. I believe that Saturday. I believe they're going to have success offensively. As much as we keep worrying about their ability to run, athletically, LSU is going to find success on the offensive side. I don't think it's going to be perfect, but they're going to score points. They're going to move the ball. Can they stop Mississippi State? How much have they improved last year to this year from week 1 to week 4? And you're going to see different quarterback. Of course, last year was KJ Costello. This year it's Will Rogers. Ned Orgeron talked about the Mississippi State signal caller.
He has a quick release. He's very accurate. He has a good feel for the offense. 75% completion ratio. That's unbelievable. 1,000 yards passing 3 games. They got him a good quarterback. But you know what? Coach Leach is such a good teacher. They got good routes. He knows how to attack protections. He knows how to attack coverages. He has great protection. I think Coach Leach is a great coach, and it shows he has a new quarterback. He's having a lot of success.
We're going to give you a pick on this game later in the week, and I'll tell you flatly right now, I have not decided what direction I'm going to go. ESPN's Football Power Index actually has Mississippi State as a favorite in this ball game, giving State about a 56% chance to win the game. And Vegas sees this one as a very close ball game as well. Vegas, this opened at 4, and it very quickly got bet down to LSU 2.5. So, you're talking about what is very likely going to be a tight ball game on the road at 11 a.m. And I'm quite honestly not sure what direction I'm going to go with it just yet, but we'll certainly make our picks on Fridays. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.